You need a Svengali deck, obviously, but the way you're set up is this. You have separated all of the force cards out and put them on top with one long card in the middle of them. Now, just for ease of operation, when I'm doing the trick, I make sure that whatever my force card is, the indifferent card is a different colour, so it just pops out, because in a moment we're going to go through the cards and I don't really want to be thinking. So obviously if that was a 3 of clubs that I'm looking for, that's going to be quite difficult in this case. So I've just popped the 7 of hearts there. You introduce the deck, you spread through. This is great as well. If you're with magicians, honestly, this is such a fooler for magicians. Just by switching the deck, if you're in a pub or wherever and you just switch for another red bike, they just won't suspect Svengali at all. You casually spread and just say, look, we're going to do a card trick, but we'll both do one, okay? Now, normally I'd have you pick a card, but we'll try this. I'm going to give you half the cards and I'm going to keep half myself. So it's so easy because you've got this massive step at the back of the deck with the short card stop. You just cut everything above the short card and give them everything. Just give them that half the deck and say shuffle. So they shuffle and you shuffle. Now, you both think of a card, but when you go through, you're going to bluff it and just up jog the only card that's not a force card, okay? That gets put onto their deck. Any card from their half gets put into your half. So in this case, we're going to use the Queen of Hearts. The Queen of Diamonds. Sorry, card dyslexia has crept in a few times during this shoot. That gets in there, and you both shuffle again. Now, obviously, it doesn't matter what he does because you don't care about that card. He's just shuffling his deck. With your half, you have the best control in the world because his card, the only card in this deck that's not the 3 of spades, is now a long card. So all you do is you just cut that to the bottom, and that's really, really easily done. You just run your finger at the back, and then you end up with that on the bottom, okay? So the position is his card, a load of your cards, and a bunch of cards you don't really care about. Not on a personal level, I'm sure they're lovely, but I mean, for the purposes of this trick, I don't care about them. Your half gets put on top of his half, so you're back in the position where you've got a load of short force cards and a load of indifferent long cards, and you say, we'll shuffle these together. Now you cut the deck again, exactly at 26, which is easy because of this step here. You just push down on that and cut the deck. Now, you need to do a Pharaoh shuffle. So I'll just give you a few seconds to press stop or skip to the next chapter. Okay, great, you're still here. Wonderful. Okay, you're going to do a Pharaoh shuffle and it needs to be perfect. Practice. If you want to do it, then this is just the way it works. There are alternative methods of using it without a Pharaoh shuffle by stripping off the cards or dealing procedures, but I just think for the time and effort it would take to learn a Pharaoh shuffle, it just streamlines everything and makes it quicker. So the situation we're in is his card is now on top of this packet and you have all your force cards there. So you Pharaoh shuffle. This is the bit where I won't be able to do it on camera because I've just said you need to do it perfectly. Oh, look at that. So you've done your Pharaoh shuffle. Everything gets squared. Just to stop at this moment, you've got to try and think of this from their point of view. They have literally just thought of any card from their half. You've thought of one from yours. They've swapped. They've shuffled together. And now those halves have been shuffled together really fairly. You can do a cascade. And that is a shuffle deck. You square everything up. And now the situation is you have a Svengali deck, a standard setup for a Svengali deck. Every other card is short and every other card is a force. As an additional note, what I sometimes do is I just switch the face 2 cards of the deck. Because after the Pharaoh, your force card is now on the face. So just as an additional throw off, I just switch those 2 and put them down. So just in case they do end up looking at the face of the deck, it's a different card. Now, to reveal the 2 selections, the first one is a complete bluff, and the next one, there's almost no way they can backtrack it. So the first one, you know their card's on top of the deck. You say, what was your card? They say the Queen of Diamonds. And you say, okay, feign a thought process. And then you go, it's 15, or pick a number, pick any random number, 15 cards down from the top of the deck. Which is a bold claim, because you just say, it's 15 cards down. They're like, oh, really? And you say, look, I'll save time, I'll just cut straight to it. And you do the Benzeus spin-out move, which briefly is you cut the deck, but you hold the top card back and use like a flicking action with your right hand. This is in print, lots of places, so I won't spend too much time on this. But you cut the deck and just flick that out. That's the slow method. In speed, it just looks like that. Okay, it just looks like you cut the deck and throw it out. That's their card. Now this was the final. This next bit was the final piece of the puzzle. This is a way of making their selection procedure for the number super fair. It's just so fair, and it's such a massive discrepant, but it just works. I'm really, really proud of this bit. When you display their card, obviously you get a reaction. Your card was 15 cards down, bang, out of the deck. There it is. Thank you very much. Then you say, look, my card was the 3 of spades, or whatever the force card is in your Svengali deck. As you say that, you take their card and you just place it on top of the deck. And you don't make a big thing of it. You just say, the Queen of Diamonds, fantastic. My card was the 3 of spades. What position in the deck is it? So then, like, for them, after all this shuffling procedure, you just stated, you found their card, so instantly that's quite impressive. But you're now stating what your card is outright, and then saying that you can name any position in that deck, and your card will be at that position. So they say, I don't know, say, for the sake of this video, we'll say 8. So this is the throw-off, okay? If they say an even number, you turn over the top card, you give them the deck, and now that means that your force card is now set to every even position, right? If they say an odd number, you take their card, they throw it aside, and you give them the deck. So either way, it's just a completely casual thing. Like, it just completely flies. It's like, what was it? 7. Okay, look, you take the deck, you count down 7 cards. Or if it was 8, you go, what was it? 8. Okay, look, you take the cards, you count down to the 8th card. And they do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That gets dealt aside. You say, look, if you'd gone one more, that would have been the 5 of hearts. If you'd gone one less, that would have been the 5 of diamonds. Nice little coincidence there. But you said 8, and my card was the 3 of spades. They turn that over. That's the 3 of spades, and that's my double card, any card at any number. Okay, so just an end note on that routine. You'll notice in the performance, I did it as a memorized deck thing. Obviously, your choice of presentation is up to you. You can do it as a magical thing, or you could do it as a display of skill or whatever. I just take that moment and just riffle the side of the deck and say, there, I've done it. I've memorized the entire deck. Which again, I mean, I honestly don't believe anybody in their right mind would think that you memorized the deck that quick. But it's just fun, you know, it's fun, it's a banter, you know, it's like, oh yeah, I've memorized the deck. Have you really? Yeah, I totally have. What was your card? It's going to ask, okay, that was 15. So you kind of make a thing with it. So yeah, I mean, you present it how you want, but again, just to recap, in this performance, I did it as a memorized deck stunt. Okay, so this is an alternative method which eliminates the Pharaoh shuffle. So if you like the trick and you like the plot, you can totally do it this way and it plays almost exactly the same. You are in the position, so you've just done the trick, you've done part of the method, and you're in the position where you've got all of the force cards back on top, you've got all of the indifferent cards underneath, and their selection is the first one there. What you're going to do is you're just going to casually cut the top half to the table, leaving their selection on top, and you're just going to shuffle it, and just you do that, and the guys are going, look, bear in mind these cards, you know, we separated these cards, you shuffled yours, I shuffled mine, etc., etc. That repositions their card to the bottom of this half. You then say, look, we're going to mix these up even further, okay? And then you just deal cards singly to the table on top of each other, starting with the right hand. So you just deal through the deck like this, saying, look, we're going to mix these halves up, like so, and you could even sort of do this with another spectator, having them deal one and you deal one or whatever you wanted, and turn it into like some fun snap game or something. All the way through until you end up with their card on top. And now you're in the position where you're back with the Svengali deck. So you have rebuilt that deck with their selection on top. And from this point, you can proceed as the other method with the spin out and then the displacement. Hope that's useful.
So James's card at any number is super falling and a brilliant trick. But of course you do have to do a Pharaoh shuffle for it, and sometimes doing a Pharaoh shuffle with a deck that's been cut can be tricky. So while you're practicing that, I have lazily pieced together a version that doesn't need the Pharaoh shuffle. So you can use this version in the meantime while you're practicing your Pharaoh, and then bust it out like James does in the explanation. So here's the version that I do. You have your Svengali deck set up as a normal Svengali deck, so they're in long and short, and your duplicates are alternating all the way through, rather than setting up like James's one. And you're ready to perform. So you can start off, I never actually do the flick show thing, especially if it's for magicians, because they'll immediately know what the deck is. I prefer to do the riffle shuffle and then let people just see, but without calling attention to it, that the cards are all different as they're being mixed up. So that, I think, is much, much better. So what we're going to do is you give the cards a little shuffle, and then we're going to spread the cards out, but you're going to dribble them into a spread. So you're just going to dribble the cards like that. And what happens is they fall in the pairs, the long and short pairs. So now every single card that they can actually see is a false card. So you say to your spectator, I want you to take one card out, and I'm going to take a card out. So they take out any card that they can actually physically put their finger on, and it's always going to be your false card, which in my case is the 10 of spades. So they look at a 10 of spades. You say, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to grab a card at random. You grab a card, you look at it, and you completely disregard it. So it doesn't matter what yours is. You just instantly forget it. And you return both of them back to the pack where they came from, because you want to keep your alternating stack. So then you square everything up, and you can do another shuffle if you like. You can give it another one of the shuffles. And then at some point, you want to glimpse the bottom card. So I normally shuffle, I cut the cards, and then I do an all-round square up. And what that means is I can just peek the bottom card as it flies past. So I've just seen the 9 of hearts. So now you say to the spectator, the same presentation as James's, we're going to find each other's cards, or find our own cards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to concentrate on my card. I picked the 9 of hearts. I'm going to let a number come to me between 1 and 52. So 38. My card is 38th from the top of the deck. So now I pick up the deck, and you do any bottom revelation that you like to reveal the card. So I'm going to do a cut revelation. I'm going to pick up a big chunk of cards, and what's going to happen is with my right hand, I lift those up, and my right fingers, which I hold in from above, grab that 9 of hearts off the bottom and pull it halfway out, kind of like a reverse Kelly bottom placement. And then when you separate your hands, it just makes that card spin out of the pack. So apparently that's come out of 38th position. You're never going to count it, you're never going to have to prove it, but you just say, my card is, so let me pop it back in there so you can see it at speed. Say, I picked the 9 of hearts. The 9 of hearts will be 38th. So all I need to do to find my card is cut 38 cards down, and I would find the 9 of hearts. So you found your card, and then you table the deck with the your selection face up on top. Now you say to your spectator, you're going to find your card. You don't have to worry about doing the fancy cut thing. I'm a professional, that's why I do the fancy cut. But you just let a number come to you between 1 and 52. And now you can finish as in James's trick. If they name an odd number, you're going to let them deal down to the card themselves. So let's say they say 7. You're just going to lift the face-up card off the pack and have them deal down 7 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the 7th one is their own selection, the 10 of spades. If they name an even number, then you get to use James's brilliant ruse. So let's say they say 8 instead. Then you just turn your card face down on top. And then that will position all of the false cards at the even positions instead of the odd ones. So you can say 8, sure, count down to the 8th card. They go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Deal the 8th card down. You can do, in either case, you can still do that if you'd said one card before, 1 card after, you've got a different result. But there it is, and they found their own card, as in James's original card at any number. So I hope you enjoy that. Like I say, that's just a